welcome to Vahagraphy Talk. This is number 34. We got our co-host here, Chuck Talks. What's going on, Chuck?
Just looking forward to this, hearing about this trip to Alaska.
And then we have our featured guest of the day here, Bayou Josh, back for another podcast, man.
Yeah, what's up, brother? You were the third podcast I ever did back in the day when I was just getting started. Yeah. You're part of helping launch me into the YouTube stratosphere here.
Well, I'm glad I can be of assistance, man. It's been a while. How long is it? You were here last, about 6-7 months ago?
I'd say closer to a year, man.
I mean,
if I'm thinking about it, it was late summer. So yeah, maybe about 9 months or so. You've been at it that long, huh? You're podcasting? I was like number 6 or something. If you remember correctly, so you're at 34 now.
Yeah, it's numbered. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's fun to go back and watch those previous episodes. You know,
it really is. Yeah.
It documents the time, and it's cool, man. But welcome, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You've been in the talk for some time, man. I get questions about you all the time from my viewers.
Yeah.
About what you've been doing lately. But we're gonna get into all that. But yeah, you're back from Alaska, huh?
Yeah, that was a trip of a lifetime. I was indulgent. I went a little overboard. Need to dial it back a little bit now and do some more local stuff. But I just had the opportunity and put together a decent game plan to kind of hit all my touch points in 8 days, 9 days, 8 days. And yes,
I'm gonna ask you about Alaska. We're gonna get into that because I have questions about the trip. But let's first tackle the Nikon thing, shall we, Chuck?
Hey, it's your show, man.
So basically, in a nutshell, because again, I get questions asked. What's up? What's up with Josh? Why did he leave? Why isn't he using Nikon? I know why, but some people may not know. Still, I just wanted you to come on here and just from your mouth make it clear to everybody what's going on, what happened. And
yeah, I mean, it's not too complicated. I got the Z9, and like everybody, we all had to wait a little bit, and I think my wait was maybe 45 days, which is still too much for me. I'm an impatient asshole sometimes. Sorry, I cussed. But yeah, so I got the Z9 and I had a little 500 PF and it was great. Fantastic image quality, loved using the camera, no doubt about it. And zero problems with that camera. I mean, it's world class and everybody knows that. There's nothing I can say that adds or takes away from that. I was very interested in getting that 400 2.8. I pre-ordered it and at that time also got approved for Nikon professional services and was excited to get that camera. I was ready to rock and roll. And the release date came and crickets when they started shipping them. The camera store that I ordered from got 1, then they got 3, then they got 6. And finally they called me and like, Josh, I mean, you showed us your NPS order and you were the first guy on the list that ordered one. They haven't sent it. I don't know what's going on. And for the next, 7 or 10 days, I spent on the phone trying to get in touch with Nikon, never could get an answer. And I have some friends that shoot Sony, one specifically, Mark Smith, who's a nature photography guy like me. And we talked back and forth and I said, look, man, he's like, dude, I'm never going back to Nikon. That freaking Sony's incredible. You'll love it, and you're not gonna regret doing it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And look, I think I've told you this, and I've said it to Chuck. If they would have answered my email and said that lens was coming and was going to be here before I left for Alaska, which was another big part, I'd still have a Z9 in my hand. It's just nobody answered my phone calls. Nobody returned an email.
It's crazy how you were one of the first ones in line at your store, right, to order the lens. It's crazy how the pick and choose processes and who gets their lens
Yeah.
first, and I'd be interested in seeing the inner workings on how that works, like how, who Nikon selects to send how many units to. That's interesting because
Yeah,
I
I
would.
wish I knew how it worked. I just know that I can't stand, call me privileged or whatever you want, but that's a lot of money. And when you've done everything you're asked to do, and then they just kind of ignore you, it just doesn't feel
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Me and Mozman were joking the other day. We're like, man, you should never have told the viewers on the video you're switching to the A1. See, Josh took you seriously. In that
Yeah.
video, he's holding the A1, and he's like, "Oh man, this is great." But man, I just gotta ask you. I mean, great. I mean, like I always say, the Sony, the Canon, or the Nikon, they're all great, great
Yeah.
cameras.
Yeah.
You had the flagship,
Mhm.
and but I want to ask you this question: do you miss the ergonomics of the Nikon?
Uh, I don't think I miss it, honestly. I mean, they're fantastic cameras, and there's no doubt when you have it and that's all you shoot. But I'll tell you this, I don't appreciate switching back and forth between cameras. Like, if you're shooting, like right now, I've got 1, 2, 3 Sony A7 IVs, the A1, and another camera that's going to be on the way here soon. Uh, it's it's just one of those situations where you don't want to be going back and forth between things. And now that and listen, I was gonna get rid of the Z6s regardless of whether I got the Z9 or A1, because the A7 IV, in my opinion, is just worlds better than the Z6 too for autofocus, video recording and all that stuff. So a little piece of me is kind of glad that I'm not switching back and forth. And I also set up my A1 and the A7 IV to basically operate exactly like a Nikon. So I've been using Nikon for 9 years. I put the ISO controls in the same spot. A lot of the quick change buttons are in the same spot. I just don't have them on the front now. They're on the top. So
Do you,
ergonomically, you don't think about it when there's birds flying in front of you. You're just like,
yeah.
is it grabbing focus and am I getting the shot?
Now, are you shooting majority of your shots handheld right now, or are you all using a tripod?
Yeah, the only
Gimbal.
reason I use the tripod is to get video. I mean, so when I first started YouTube, I had that big 600 f4, and that thing weighed
Yeah.
like 10.8 pounds or something stupid like that. So my whole kit with the D850 was almost 13 pounds. You're not hand holding that. But I
Yeah.
also had a 200 to 400, which we've discussed. I think you have that same lens or still have that same lens. That 200 to 400 is about 8 pounds, 7.5 pounds, or something like that. This Sony 600 f4 is like 6.4 ounces, 6 pounds 4 ounces. So
Yeah.
it weighs less with the camera body on it than that 200 to 400 that I was shooting with. So I hand hold it all the
Most of the
time.
time, all the
Yeah,
time. You,
unless
you
I'm doing video. Unless I'm doing video, I'm hand holding that 600 f4,
wow.
100%.
So hand holding it, then yeah, that makes sense because I've hand hold the A1 with the 600, and it's really nice. It's light.
It's super light, super
Yeah.
light.
So Jeff and Leslie, wildlife nature photography. Yeah, the only reason there's
I
some
love
people that
those
just
guys. I
don't
love
know.
Jeff and Leslie.
There are just some people that just don't know, why he switched, and we're just, we'll get to the Alaska trip. But we have a question for you, real quick here. Do you use a battery grip for your A1?
No, a lot of people talk about the battery life on this thing. Unless I'm shooting, 4K. Okay, let's talk about Alaska. I was on that island for 8 hours with those bears, and I'm telling you, from the moment I sat down to the moment I got up, less maybe 30 minutes. I had that camera on, shooting 4K, 120 frames per second, uh, and shooting 30 frames per second. Man, look, I changed the battery at like hour 6. So I don't want to add weight and have that big battery grip. I mean, it fits my hand just fine. But some people like having a battery grip,
You
but I don't. I don't
do
use it
you
at
s-
all.
Do you set up your camera to shut off after a minute?
No, not at
You,
all. It's constantly on all the time.
it's on all
Well,
the
you know what?
time.
I think it is. I think it is 5 minutes. I have it set up to turn
Okay.
off.
So you're waiting there for birds. It's always work. It's always on. It's always working.
Yeah, and the reason
Right.
why is, and that's one thing Nikon has over Sony for sure, the startup time. So when
Yeah.
I pull it up to my eye and I press the button, it's that, that 1 second, or 2 seconds that it takes to fire back up. And the
Yeah.
Z9, you pull it up to your eye, you press the button, boom, it's on, which was fantastic. I love that about the Z9.
One final question regarding the Switch.
Yeah.
When this happened, uh, and you felt all those comments and all that backlash, how did that kind of make you feel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to understand the backlash was 4 people, 8 people, and I lost 200 subscribers.
Mm,
But since then, I've gotten 940 subscribers. And and of those 900 comments on that thing, 98% of them were, "Hey, good for you, buddy. Put out another, wildlife video." So it's, we're talking what, 5, 8, 3% of the people that have watched me that, had anything negative to say. I mean, whatever. Okay. So I'll use a different camera, but it's not like I'm a different person. I just spent my money on something else that I wasn't spending my money on before. And 99% of the people were like, yeah, okay, great. Let's see more birds. So
yeah.
backlash, I didn't see it as backlash. I saw it as a whole lot of people that were like, okay, thanks for telling us, whatever, move on. So
Yeah.
there were some jerks though, let's be real. And I was like, what the heck? Are you serious? That committed to a product that you're willing to,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I understand where they're coming from, kind of, because
Mhm.
they have the product and they feel connected to you in a way
Yeah.
where you're using the same product. It's understandable. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you got to do what you got to do, and that what makes you happy. So, I mean, you're not, and then you're not contracted to use a certain product because you're on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not about, the product makes me happier. And I've said this, I think I said this, I've said it to somebody, but I hate waiting for stuff. And people that, you spend a certain amount of money and then you're just sitting there checking your emails and, trying to leave voicemails and trying to figure out when something's coming. That's an emotional toll. And I'm also managing, $246 million worth of work at my job. And I'm dealing with board meetings and all this other stuff. The last thing I want to worry about is I spent money and have to wait 7 months for a product and trying to figure out when to get it. So, yeah. So, whatever, maybe, I'm happier that I'm not waiting on stuff anymore, which is
Yeah.
great.
Hey,
Uh,
real quick though, I want to say hello to
yeah.
everybody that's streaming in right now. Hello, guys. Thank you for joining us. Vahagraphy Talk. Happy to have you here, guys. Hit the like button. This is you guys make this show, turn, and I appreciate it. What's going on, Nancy? Nancy works for NASA,
Hi, Nancy.
and she's waiting on the Z9. And yeah, she's telling me some stories about NASA and photography. So good to see you here, Nancy.
I follow, who was the astronaut that was on the space station? I follow her on Instagram and I even her Flickr account. Um,
Yeah.
she's one of the photographers on the International Space Station, and I geek out over that
She,
stuff.
she, she
And they
Nancy
shoot
might know.
Nikon. Yeah,
Nancy might know. But hey, here's a
beautiful
question
images.
for you, Josh. Tim asked Josh, did the fact that Katie chose Nikon influence your decision to switch?
Well, yeah, because now we had a Sony in our household, and I got to play with it, and the things that everybody talks about with Sony, like the ergonomics are bad, and I think that was true back in the day. I mean, those older Sonys sucked. They felt a little plasticky in the hand, but that A7 IV feels exactly like a Z7 II, and I was able to set it up real easy, and then when I started doing the video, I was like, wow, why is this video so much better in the A7 IV? And I think I addressed that 10-bit so much easier to edit, which it looked exactly like my Z9 footage, and the Z6 footage did not look like either of those. So yeah, Katie having that Sony made a big difference. And I'm gonna tell you something else. The autofocus on that A7 IV is just as good as the A1, just as good as the Z9, and that's a $2,500 camera. So when you can have a product like that, I can buy 2 of those for the price of a Z9, right? And buy an inexpensive little prime lens. It just financially, it made more sense to have a couple of those, and as opposed to waiting who the hell knows how long for Nikon to release something that, creates video as good as that little A7 IV.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, we're getting ready to welcome you back to Nikon because I know you're excited about an APS-C camera and Nikon's.
Oh, I love APS-C. Yeah, look, if I had, and I'm going to tell you this, for wildlife photographers, everybody acts like APS-C, and I get it. I had several APS-C cameras, but I just learned that cropping and APS-C you can always crop in a full frame image. And I had those, hey, Todd, good to see you, buddy. I had the D500, I had 7200s, all that good stuff. And when I finally went 100% full frame, I was like, I kind of regretted all the years I wasted with APS-C cameras.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
It may be an entry, a door opening into a brand or whatever, or to photography. But if you're really into photography, you don't last long in APS-C. And then you wonder why you bought APS-C glass.
Oh, I never bought APS-C glass. That drove me nuts. But
yeah, you are an amazing storyteller, man.
I appreciate it.
I give you that.
Yeah, that's fun. That's my favorite part of the whole process, is writing that narrative out. Love it.
Hey, I want to break right into the Alaska thing.
One more question. One more question before we move to topics.
Yeah, sure.
I get asked this in emails. Honest to God, they want to know what I know, and
I ignore the emails, by the way. But go ahead.
But I want to. That's why I want to set the record straight. The Switch, and this is coming from viewers, not me, but I want to know too. The Switch, did it have anything to do with Sony reaching out to you, saying, "Hey, come on board"?
No and yes. Okay, so Sony has an influencer program, and that Nikon doesn't really. So when Mark and I, and once again, Mark and I are friends. I mean, we text every day. We're chatting back and forth. When I told him and said I was interested, he put me in touch with Nikon, with Sony, and sent a quick email. Within 30 minutes, I got a response back from Sony, and they said, "Hey, yeah, let's set up a call." And the Sony influencer program allows, we're considered media, right? And media partnerships come with some perks, like some discounts on gear and stuff like that. But I paid full price for my 600 F4. I had to buy that through a distributor down in Burbank, California, who does stuff with the media guys down there. Okay. But I did get a discount on a couple of cameras, and it's nothing substantial. But
so you're a Sony ambassador?
No, okay. That is not. No, not at all. So I'm a media brand partner, which most people who are on social media that have any significant type of following, Sony kind of vets you out, and they're like, "Yeah, we'd appreciate having you as part of the partner program."
All right,
but you're not. You don't get anything for free.
But I don't think anybody knew that.
Yeah.
Right.
But so that's the case for, if you see anybody, and even people that use 2 and 3 different brands, if they, like I think of, like, what's his name? David Oster, or whatever his name is. Yeah. He uses Sony and he uses other stuff, but those Sony partners up with people like that says, "Hey, when we have a new launch, we'd like to send you our gear and let you check it out to make a video." And
that's what I started with Nikon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they finally started doing that, huh?
So good. I want to tell you right now, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Proud of you, man. And that's awesome, man. I like to see success, whatever you do, and great content. So you're doing both, and that's great. Okay.
I appreciate it.
By the way, guys, if you guys don't know this, can I tell them the story about the 600 or no?
Oh yeah,
Josh.
please do. Yeah, I wanted that thing.
You guys don't know, but
Blocked me.
I could have had an influence on Josh switching, and he asked me if I would sell him my 600 FL, and he wanted to pay me like what $1,000 over what I paid, and I said, you know what, Josh, sorry man, I love the lens too much. I could have
Well, it's
stopped
your
you.
fault.
Yeah.
Specifically your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just-
didn't tell that story to anybody. I think I told Chuck, but now everyone knows. So that's interesting. All right,
Yeah.
Alaska, man. Tell
Hey,
us.
first question I want to know is, what did you have on your hip? There's no way I'm on that island with bears, especially a brown bear with cubs, without something.
Just bear spray. That island, Admiralty Island, is the highest concentration of bears anywhere in the world, right? It's like 1,460 square miles, and there's over 1,600 bears. They lost count. None of them are tagged, but they do biological studies out there. But also the rangers, the park ranger people, from June 1st through the end of August, they do tours, and you land out at this pickup point on a float plane. Somebody escorts you to an observation area, and you spend an hour, looking at the bears, and then you get back on the plane and leave. So the bears during that summer time frame, they're kind of used to seeing people come in and out. But we went permit season, so we were by ourselves. I contracted a company to bring me out there, and I told them I've got an open seat if you know anybody that wants to come. And that girl that we were with, we met her 30 minutes before we got on the plane, and we were by ourselves. We all had bear spray, but we were also told that they're very nice bears unless a big male comes into the field. And 2 minutes into our thing, a big male came into the field, and I'm gonna tell you, that freaked me out a little bit, because he was staring everybody down, and yeah.
So what do you do when that happens if they come charging at you?
Die.
Shit.
You're not going to stop a 1,400-pound bear. You can spray them and do whatever, but
7 rounds of 45 might slow him down a bit, though.
Yeah. Well, what you do is it's all about behavior. Animals speak through body language and smell. And the best advice I got was just, talk to each other like you're normal. Don't act like a predator, like bow up to things. And like I said, they're kind of used to seeing you, but just don't be a jerk. Don't go chasing them down, trying to get a better shot, all that stuff,
Yeah. Don't call them out. Hey, come here.
Yeah. Hey, bear, I'm over here.
So wait a
granola
minute.
bar.
So they drop you off, right?
Mhm.
And then you
Yeah.
come out, and there's no city, there's no hospital, there's nothing.
No. We had a 911 GPS device. If something happened, we just make a 911 satellite call and hope they can get there quick enough.
Wow.
That's all you got.
That's adrenaline, man, right there. Hey, Roy wants to know, what lenses did you take to Alaska?
Yeah, so the 600 f4 is the primary lens. I had a Sony sent me a 200 to 600 that I used extensively as well. And we had the 100 to 400. So I've got a video coming out soon about comparing those 3 lenses. And I had a 24 to 70 and a 20 millimeter prime lens, 1.8. But yeah, that was it. That's all I could fit in the bags. I was carrying all that stuff on no plane. Nobody wants to put that stuff onto the plane, right? So I had a lot. I was burdened. I had a lot of equipment.
I want to ask a question about the trip, because how much did that whole thing cost? I mean, how long were you there for?
8 days. Well,
okay.
8.
All right.
And I came back on the 9th. Yeah. 8 days there, came back on the 9th. Yeah.
Okay.
So I travel, and I have Sky Miles and all that stuff. So I think I paid $6 a piece for my plane tickets. It cost me $480. It would have been $700, I think, with the float plane, but I spent $480. because I split it with that girl. So if you just want to go see bears, it's a $470 plane ticket, whatever it costs for you to stay in a hotel. And, if you want the plane all to yourself, $700 and something dollars. So it's cheap. It's not that expensive. And for me, it's a 4-hour flight from here to Juneau, Alaska, because I'm up in the Northwest. So not that expensive at all. Now, not to say I didn't eat out every night and, so if we get into the actual cost, it could get stupid, but
so two people, 10 days, you need what? $6K, something like that? 5K, 4K?
If you do Airbnb, you're talking $200 a night. So 2 times 10, there's $2K for that, and whatever your food costs, and then
the flights.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, I did 3 flights out there. I did another location too, which they weren't near as good as the bear thing. And depends on how many people you fly with too. So like the other 2 flights I did was a big otter, and it had 10 people on board. So it's basically a little bus that takes you back and forth to spots.
Wager 600 at the bears.
Yeah. Listen, I can't stress this enough. It was nerve-wracking to start with, and then extremely tense when she brought the cubs up. But then she relaxed. And after that, it was like, hey, there's a bear sitting right there. Yeah. And then when I got back, people were saying, oh, yeah, she brings her cubs up to show off to people. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it didn't feel that way to start with. And so the high tension at the beginning, and then a little tension at the end, because that big bear was still in the valley, the little area there as we were leaving, and he was eyeballing us. I mean, just like I didn't even turn my camera towards him. I'd kind of look over my shoulder, but he was parading around the field a lot and made us all nervous. Other than that, though, it was very nice, calm experience. Very pleasant.
Can we look forward to a video a day while you were there?
Yeah, I could. I got so much footage, Chuck. You know how it is going through footage. I'm trying to create stories, right? And I could make a story of every day for sure, but some of it would be boring because it was just trying to figure out what the hell we were doing.
With everything while you were there, I just assumed there are quite a few videos to come from this trip. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got 4 of them in the pipeline. Yeah,
great.
One for every couple of days. I did a whale watching tour.
Wow.
And I've got one specifically to birds, of course. And
you're on you're on the boat there, right? Like the big ass ship.
We chartered a very small boat. It was a 6-passenger boat. 6 passengers. And we basically told the guy, like, hey, there's a whale over there, go to it. And he just did whatever we wanted. Instead of going on the big boats that they kind of take you where they think's the best spot. Here's the thing about Alaska. When you're in Auk Bay, anybody that's been there, you can see the whales from the shore. I mean, they're coming up and that's spouting awesome. And you see the tails. So when you get on the boat, you're like, hey, there's one, let's go see it. And we spent 5 hours out on the boat just chasing whales around, which was pretty fun. Coincidentally, the hardest photography I've ever done, because you don't know where the whales are coming up. And then when they do come up, they're wet, they're glistening. You got horrible highlights. I'll never do it again. Every picture I look back through, I'm like, that's garbage. I suck as a photographer. But that wasn't the funnest part of the trip for sure.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when is the salmon run over there? There's a salmon run, right?
Yeah. So it starts mid-July, late June. You got the certain king salmons. I think they told me king first.
Okay.
And that kind of starts the run into the bays, and they start kind of, making their way to the rivers. But peak time is late July through late August. So you have about a month's worth of where they just flood those rivers, and the bears just sit on their ass and just pick them up and shove them in their mouth. It's not even they're just dead fish all over the beach. The
bears and the eagles, right? You get eagles and all kinds of.
Yeah. Which, hey, spoiler alert, I'm going back in August. I mean, I've already booked the tickets and and we met people there. Now we know people. So like I'm staying at an Airbnb for half the cost that I would have stayed at if I didn't know the lady that owns this Airbnb, who happens to be a photographer, who happens to be the lady that we were on the island with the bears. So I mean, there's all these connections you make while you're there. But yeah, it's going to be a lot cheaper, and I'm going to do it real quick. You know, a 3-day trip there and back. I can leave at 6 in the morning and be there at 10:30. You know, which is 10:30 in the morning. So I've got a full day, and it doesn't get dark till 10:30 at night or 11.
That's awesome.
Heck, when I go there, it'll be almost midnight by the time it gets dark. So
Wow.
you can't beat that. It's like having 3 days in one every day you're there.
I'm looking forward to seeing your videos, man. So you got videos for 4 weeks. What are you gonna do? Just kick back?
Nope. I was out last night recording again.
Okay.
So when you're ahead, stay ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing worse than, you know, trying to figure out what Friday's video is going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely ahead right now. So I'm going to do my best to stay ahead, because what's going to happen is, like, when I leave, I'd like to not be thinking about a video for a couple of weeks, which would be nice. But
I know Chuck has a question.
Yeah, I got a tech question. With all the video work that you're doing now, Josh, or you have been and you continue to do, now I want to know about storage. What are you doing for storage?
God dang it. So I have,
I mean, you're accumulating quite a bit of data.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 4-terabyte hard drives that have overflow to them. I process everything on 4-terabyte Extreme Pro SSD cards.
Okay.
So like my entire Alaska trip, I would transfer all the data every night onto that 4-terabyte Extreme SSD, which has like 2,000 megs per second transfer rate. So it was instant. When I come home, I edit off of the SSD card. And once I'm done editing, I dump it onto these hard drives. And I put a sticker on it once it's full, and I've filled 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I filled 4 of them in the last year.
Wow.
So as I keep filling them, but they're cheap. Storage is cheap now. It's $100. So every 3 months I spend $100 on a new hard drive. And I don't access it except for maybe a little bit of footage every now and then. I'll go back and grab something.
Yeah.
My problem is not the storage. It's trying to figure out what the hell I was thinking when I named it. Because like, what the hell does LRB Lights 2016 mean? It's like I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at half the time. But
you take a lot of footage, man. You gotta it's important to back up and use proper storage, and it's got to be fast too when you're uploading, and
yeah, that's why I do everything to those SSD cards first. I do Lightroom to SSD cards so I can edit the images faster. I do all my Premiere Pro editing off SSD. And boy, you can feel the difference when you go to a regular hard drive and load a piece of footage into Premiere Pro. Yeah. And you just watch it sit there for 4 minutes.
Yeah. I want to comment on this comment. Hardest world. Josh inspired me to leave Nikon. I mean, you have to go with what you feel is right for you. You know what I mean? What might work for Josh might not work for you. So you have to just go and test the cameras out.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this. The image quality, I don't care how much people argue about it. I don't notice any difference between an A1 and a Z9. I mean, maybe out of the camera, the white balance looks a little different. But 50 megapixels or 45 megapixels, whatever. But I will say this, that little A7 IV, I cannot sing the praises of that camera enough. If you're a wildlife photographer and you want to get started under $5,000, go buy an A7 IV with a 200 to 600. I mean, the autofocus is incredible on that little thing. And the image quality, 33 megapixels, you're getting 10 frames per second or whatever that is. Feels slow compared to a Z9, but man, that little thing is a rock star. If Nikon comes out with something that just competes with that at 12 frames per second or whatever, with 30 megapixels with that type of autofocus system.
Well,
Yeah.
for me, it's the ergonomics, the handling, and the lenses. I mean, the
Yeah.
colors. That's my personal choice. I mean, but hey, just Sandra's started concert photography, and she asked, "Do you have assistants or do you ride solo?" Well, he goes out with his wife, and that's awesome because you
I'm her
have
assistant. I'm her assistant, by the way. I carry her gear.
yeah,
Good
you
answer.
that's the best to have your significant other into what you're into.
Yeah.
It just makes life so much easier. It's like you go out, right? And you do
Mhm.
your thing. And then if your wife's not into photography, she's looking at her watch. Okay, man, when are we gonna go, do eat, or when are we gonna go and watch a movie already?
Yeah.
So that's
Not
great.
not only is Katie into it, she's passionate about wildlife and
Yeah.
birds. I'll you can put her up against any, ornithologist, and she knows anything there is to know about the species of birds that are around and behavior and how to draw them in closer. She's awesome. She's incredible, but she doesn't like photography that much. She's like, she has cussed at those cameras no matter what camera she's ever had. She is not a huge fan of having to work that little computer in her hand. But
Binos suit her better, huh?
yeah, exactly. What did Jeff say? You
Oh,
pulled it down too quick.
sorry. There we go.
Oh
2000.
yeah. Yeah, 2 a.m. Exactly. Yeah, that I can't wait to see what that's like in August in the late summer. They said it's nuts. Yeah. And then I'd like to go back in the winter when they have the northern lights. I think March, April timeframe is when that starts peaking. Um, yeah, Alaska's a different place. I think it's a great place to visit. I don't know if I'd want to live there because it's brutal in the winter months.
Yeah. What are your next? I mean, if you were to pick a place to go next all over the world, where would it be next?
Central America.
Okay.
And I'm planning that trip. I haven't dialed in all the logistics yet. But
Hmm.
Colombia,
Wow.
Medellin, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
Um,
Medellin.
yeah, we have a friend, an uncle that lives there, so we've got accommodations and everything when we go. We're trying to work that out logistically, how it where everything is, how would I spend each day there. But that's my next big adventure. And I may happen this year. Don't know. More likely next year.
Question, Josh, is that due to the birds that are there, or what in particular is drawing you there?
Birds, 100% birds. I mean, the exotic stuff there, and what I understand, and I don't know how true this is, it's also low hanging fruit. Um, you can, first of all, I lived in Costa Rica for several months when I was 18 years old,
Okay.
working with this little mission group that I was doing stuff with.
Okay.
And I mean, I had daily encounters with toucans. You know what I mean? I mean, that's they're like cardinals over there.
Yeah.
And so the exotic birds that we don't see here that you'd only see in a zoo, that's the 100% the number one draw for me. Love
Mm.
those birds.
Hmm. That's cool, man. It's,
Did Greg say he's tempted to stop his order on his 800? Listen,
Yeah, he's been
don't.
waiting for a while.
I hate waiting. God, I hate waiting.
I know you're not
Yeah,
gonna cancel Greg.
Greg's a good dude, man.
But yeah, man, it's inspiring. So how do you come up with stories? Like, okay, today we're going here, but what inspires you to tell that story?
Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, I don't have a bird or camera channel. I have a human being channel,
Mm,
and we talk a lot about the pitfalls of the hobby. We talk about friendship and what it's like to be married and have this hobby together. And regardless of what's happening, there's a story happening. If I go out on a Saturday and I get nothing, that's the story. And we've all experienced that story. So I'm Josh. Here's what I want. Here's the things that stand in my way. And let's see if I can overcome obstacles, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. So that's the story. It's the, they call it in the theater world the hero's journey, but we're all going through it. We're all experiencing this hobby together, and every day we go out, there's a story involved. So it's very easy. I just got to pay attention, take notes.
That's awesome. I want to welcome everybody again. Pedro from Portugal. Here we go. Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, wow. Welcome.
Yeah. So we got guys in here, gals. Welcome.
Wishan.
So
Yeah.
what for those people that don't know your channel, it's Bayou Josh on YouTube, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, Bayou Josh, and it's nature, bird, wildlife photography, the tools we use, and how we feel when we get the good shots and how we feel when we don't get the good shots. It's, I'm gonna tell you what's heavy on my mind lately, and especially, hey Chris, how's it going, man? Exactly, a philosophy channel disguised as wildlife photography. What's been heavy on my mind lately, and I'm guilty of it because I have a YouTube channel, is how I've kind of alluded to it before a little bit, but I really want to focus, dedicate a couple of videos to it. And that is how if you spend too much time on YouTube, it'll steal away the joy you experience from, just being out in nature. You start thinking about, well, if I only had the camera Josh carries, of course I'd get great shots. And I say that from experience, I mean, hell, just 5 years ago, I couldn't afford what I have now. And, or my priorities were different, right? My kids, different age. And I felt that. I felt like, man, well, of course you're getting fantastic shots, dude. You're shooting with the best gear there is. And then I go out there and I'm all pissed off because I don't have a 600 f4 and I don't have a 30 frames per second. And I think, especially for us as men, and I don't want to perpetuate any gender biases, but we have this ego complex where when we get into something, we just want to be the best. At least most of the people I spend time with. And unfortunately, that takes a little toll on you emotionally, and you don't want to talk about it because you're like, I'm just, and then you start making excuses and you start, I don't know. It's just a very complex emotion that your hobbies draw out of you because you want it to be for fun. But then what happens is now we have this social media thing that, like, you go to Instagram, you're like, now there's a scorecard. I've got 100 likes and this guy's got 10,000 likes. And now you got a scoring system.
But
that sucks,
Yeah, you know what? I create content and I stopped looking at that. You know what I mean? Like, I just do my thing and I don't really care. I just do my thing and I just want to be myself. And if people like it, they like it. And, without stepping on anybody's toes, without, just doing your thing. And I've been doing this for about a year and a half, 2 years, and that's what I do. But Ben has a question here. What camera bags do you use for Alaska trip, real quick?
Whew. I have a camera bag for sale now because one of them could not go on the plane. So f-stop is the bags that I use. They sent me one a year ago. It was the 50 liter, and I was allowed to go on the plane with that. And I had to take the big lens and put it in the suitcase that it comes with. And both of those are carry-on size. The 70 liter f-stop bag is not travel compliant. You can't bring that on the plane. But I use f-stop, and my wife has a Shimoda little 30 liter bag, but she only carries one lens and a camera body and lipstick. So it's a little different, but yeah, f-stop bags is what I use, and they're expensive, but man, they're worth it. They're built like tanks.
Hey, I just want to ask you, you're seeing the chat too, right, Josh?
I am. I see it,
there's comments I'm skipping over. Okay.
I love
Josh,
Woody.
thanks for your advice and shared settings for us Nikon users. It helped me with my gear and understanding the switch. Keep it up, and thanks again. Woody Mallory. What's going on, Woody? Yeah,
what a wonderful couple that is right there. Yeah, that's I think about that. That weighs heavy on me a little bit. Is I was using a brand, I give advice on how to use it. And in many cases, you know, I've also given advice on whether to buy it or not. And then I go and switch, and it's like, all right, well, you just recommended I buy this, and now you're using a different camera. And one thing I want to remind everybody is I'm not just a photographer. I take many, many hours of video every week. And that's what influenced me more than anything is, you know, availability and video capabilities. And right now, Sony, for what I do, just adds more value. And value is the key word, right? Because it's not so much a better or worse. It's they give it to me now, and you know, I have the capabilities to in my workflow to work with a system that's easy to work with.
Hey, Chuck, feel free to cut me off anytime if you have a question, but you know, I'm waiting for my Z9 more than 6 months. Maybe it's time to say no more. Time for a switch. You're switching without even having the Z9. Hey, I'd say be patient if you've waited this much. If you have lenses, you know, wait.
Okay, now I want to weigh in because this is my rant on Nikon. Okay, and I'm not switching from Nikon, but if you guys will join me tomorrow, we're going to talk some more about that on my live stream. And Nikon needs to do something about it. I think everybody agrees with that. This is it's not. I was going to say it's getting ridiculous. You know, I don't even know where to begin right now, but I won't take up all your show with it.
I want to hear it.
But yeah, tomorrow we're going to get into it. And yes, this is why I love Nikon gear. I'm still shooting Nikon. However, with Nikon Corporation, I have a bone to pick, and I haven't hid that for the last 6 months, and we're going to continue to go there tomorrow. And something's got to break here soon. And Josh, going along with what you're talking about with your switch, and you know, the A7 IV, I agree, fantastic camera. I'm not going to deny that at all. And one of the things that you wanted in your video camera was the 10-bit internal, and you've got that now. And so everybody's banking on Nikon making their way based on just the Z9, and the Z9 is slow to roll out into the hands of people. And everybody says Nikon's not going to cut their throat with anything else. I got news for you. Nikon is cutting their throat because they have nothing below the Z9 right now. And all
they
these
will.
features, all the, yeah, oh yeah, they will. But you know, it's easy to say that. But, you know, 2026 is a long time away. You know, obviously they will. So Nikon needs to ramp up production, and they need to get some of these cameras out in the field, because you see people over here in the comments right now talking about, some are joking, saying maybe it's time for me to switch. But a lot of people are honest when they make those statements. And Nikon, if you're not listening, you better be. I'm not worried about Nikon going under. Nikon's not going to go out of business. But my point is they're going to lose revenue, and revenue drives the train on technology and everything else. So maybe it's time to invest a little money again, Nikon, in production, and get some of these cameras out there. You got everybody in the world in here listening and watching this live stream right now. They shoot everything under the sun, and you see what everybody's saying. Nikon, it's time to step it up. All right, now I'll save the rest for tomorrow.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Absolutely, it's your.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. But there's a supply issue for all camera brands right now. But I know they need to come out with the Z8. I know that.
If there's a supply issue with all camera brands, why do other brands have cameras out on the market? Why did they develop cameras and they're already deliverables?
Yeah, I was talking about the waiting issue with all the commenters saying I'm waiting. There, you know how long you got to wait for a Canon R3 right now? It's ridiculous. So it's like that with all, you know, the brands right now.
Josh, if you think you're impatient, man, you're not even close to my impatience, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, so I want to speak to that just a little bit. And a marketing principle that I've learned years ago is that the T in timing is more valuable than the T in talent, right? So if you have the most incredible device and you can't get it to market in time, and somebody else beats you with, something that's relatively close, you've lost,
A
right? So
bird in the hand.
the T in talent is always overshadowed by the T in talent, and T in timing rather. So timing in marketing is huge. That's why, when the Canon R5 released when it did, with all of those wonderful features, of course it was the camera of the year, and it put everybody on their heels. And they sold, and a lot of people switched. If you remember correctly, I know several Nikon users that went to Canon back then because Nikon had nothing to offer with that autofocus system. And then when Sony immediately after, within just a few months, released the A1, and then they had the A9 II, we're talking more than 12 months later. It took way more than 12 months. It took Nikon to get that Z9 out to market. A lot of people were gone. I mean, absolutely gone, and we're not coming back. So the T in timing was extremely costly for Nikon. And I'm going to tell you, people entering the market today, Nikon's getting killed by that right now. Anybody at Best Buy or camera store is going to say, oh, you're shooting wildlife and you have $2,500? Probably need a Canon R6 or a Sony A7 IV. That's what they're going to tell them, because you got animal eye focus and all that other stuff.
Now wait until what they come out next.
It's wait. You just said the key word, wait. It'll be too late.
But companies just leapfrog each other. Like the Z9 came out, right? It leapfrogged the other flagships at a lower price point. Now I agree with Chuck. We need a camera that's I'm saying we, like I'm part of the company, but Nikon needs a camera that's the R5 and the A7 IV competitor. So we'll get that, and but I agree with him. We're missing that right now.
Yeah.
And Robert says, and you have it up there, Nikon closed down some of their factories. Yes, they did. Guess what? They need to open them again. I say this angrily, but I mean, there's truth in that. Go ahead.
Or manage expectations. Like, if I go order a Porsche GT3 RS, I know that is a very exclusive car that, is limited production, and there's a good chance I'm not going to get it. If Nikon says, okay, we're like Leica now, our new competitor is not Canon and Sony. We're going to do limited runs. We can do 4,000 units or 400,000 units, whatever the number might be. But then you're almost saying that I'm no longer a consumer, electronics company. I'm a very exclusive company.
Right.
If they rebrand it as that, I think people would be more forgiving for some of their supply chain issues. But shit, I mean, we've had 4 trucks on order at work for 8 months. You know what I mean? So yeah, we all know there's supply chain issues. I got an air handler for the jail that I've been waiting on for a year. So that is a problem. That is a global problem. But manage those expectations through good marketing. And that's where I think Nikon has failed, is they don't communicate with their customers. They don't answer emails, and they don't return phone calls.
Communication and marketing.
Yeah. I used to give a talk at an engineering school to the freshmen coming in. And I told them, I said, listen, if you want to be successful in this industry, you answer your phone, return your emails, and just do what you say you promise to do. And if you can't do that, you're gonna be limited in your success. And that's where you have to focus. And that's customer service today.
Yeah. But as far as the gear goes, I mean, Jeff and Leslie, Wildlife, good point here. Zero brand loyalty. I mean, like me, I just choose Nikon because I like the way it feels, and for me, for what I do, it works the best. I mean, and then again, I tried them all. I've tried the A1,
but back up, Vahagan. If you went, let's use Jeff and Leslie's example. If you went to Home Depot and you need a planer, and you really had in your mind that you wanted a Milwaukee, But you get there and all they have is a DeWalt and a Stanley or a Delta. You're going to pick from one of the 3 available
Yeah.
products. Typically, you're not going to wait 9 months because you need to plane some wood today. And
No.
so that's why availability is, in my opinion, the most valuable ability of any camera brand
Yeah.
or any consumer product. If you can get it to market and it's available, you win.
Let me ask you a question. How available is those Sony 600s right now? Are they in stock pretty much?
No, not
They're
at
not.
all.
Okay.
But if you're clever and smart and you look around, there's stuff out there. There's used ones. Yeah, that's a great point, Vahagan. If I would have ordered the Sony A1 when it was released, I'd have been waiting several months. If I'd have ordered the 600 F4 straight from the factory, I'd be waiting several months. But I know someone that ordered one recently and he got his within 5 weeks. So that's a big difference from 5 months. So I don't know.
Hey guys, greetings from what? Liechtenstein?
Liechtenstein.
Okay. Where's
Germany.
that?
Germany.
Germany. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially to Josh, the master of poetry of all YouTube channels. Yeah. I really like how you put it, Josh. Or was it? No, it wasn't Josh. It was who was it? Chris. He said you're a philosopher disguised as a birding channel or something like that.
Yeah.
I really like that line.
Hey, David Brandsma, if you want an answer to your question from me, then jump on my live stream tomorrow and I'll be glad to address that.
What is the question? Are you all chasing the Jared, Tony, Ken Rockwells of YouTube?
Yeah, please come on my show tomorrow and ask that question. I'd love to address it. This isn't my show.
Can I answer that?
Go for it. Yeah, of course.
First of all, YouTube pays you money for ads. When you're in that partner program, you get, what is it, Vahagan? We get, if they get $20 worth of ad revenue, you get, $10 of it or $9 of it or whatever it may be. Yeah. So we make money doing YouTube. Profitability, though, is a subjective word because I also have spent tens of thousands of dollars on equipment to make the videos that I make. And I also, when you get into time value equation, I've spent countless hours editing and doing videos. So I have been, I may have made $10,000 on YouTube to date. But I've triple that in time and effort, quadruple that in time and effort and equipment. So I don't see a profitability matrix coming into effect until maybe year 6 for me on YouTube. But speaking to the Jareds, Tonys, and Kens of the world, all they do is they take a piece of equipment and they talk about it. And if I were to do that, I think my process would get much easier. I could probably put out twice as many videos, and I wouldn't be so stressed out about story writing and all that other stuff. But profitability is a relative term, David. It's a very relative term.
Yeah, I'll answer this. For me, it's helping others out in photography. My channel is geared a little different. You're reviewing gear and the business side and the mistakes I've made as an event and portrait wedding photographer. Now, chasing Jared, Tony, and Ken Rockwells of YouTube profitability, sure. If I can make a living doing what I love to do on YouTube, sure, I'm all for it, man. I mean, and I had a discussion with you, Chuck, yesterday about this. How long can you go until you're saying, okay, wait, you're putting so much time into your channel, but it's taken away from your everyday duties as a photographer making a living? So that's a really good question. Sure, if I can have that, income stream like a Jared Poland, I'll welcome it. Why not? You'll give you more creative freedom. It'll give you a bigger budget to make bigger production. Because hey, wouldn't you love to be filmed and you doing your thing and have a crew and just, your channel is different, but
yeah,
with me, it's like I'd love to have that camera the cameraman, the editing done. Even you'll love to have it edited, right?
Oh God, yeah. But we got to keep in mind, goes back to timing. Jared and Tony, even Ken's been around for as long as I can remember. They started 10, 12 years ago, and their competition on YouTube was, 2 other people. And if you Googled Nikon, a Tony video would show up and a Jared Polin video would show up, and you'd watch both of them. Today, the market is completely different, and the opportunity for growth is still there if you make good content, but don't expect that you're going to grow to those numbers in a.
Do you agree with this, Josh?
Tim, that's a great point. I know a lot of people watch just because of the storytelling, but I'm going to tell you this: my top 10 videos of all time are product reviews. I do a storytelling review and it gets 10,000 views. If I do a product review, it gets 50,000 views. So yeah, I probably would lose a lot of the people that are watching the storytelling stuff, which I enjoy doing and I won't stop. But I've adapted a 3-basket philosophy. One basket is I'm doing the storytelling that I like, and that's excuse me, that's typically 2 videos a month. And one video a month is going to be some sort of gear, whether it's me giving my opinion on a lens or a camera. And then the other one is going to be some sort of teaching, which I don't know if I'm qualified to teach anything, but, yeah, so I'm very aware of the fact that people watch me for a certain type, but if I counted on just my storytelling for views, I'd have, 2,500 subscribers right now. And you can, every day I post a video, every time I post a video, somebody comments, I came here to watch the R5 video and I stuck around for the storytelling. So if I don't post a product review video, I don't get half the audience I have.
Yeah,
it's just a fact.
And I mean, proof is in the chat too. People are asking what gear you used. Right? Yeah. It's part of it. Hey, you're a wildlife guy. You want to ask, how did you get that shot? What did you use?
Exactly,
so it's part of it. And people are gonna ask you what about your lens, what you think of it, because they want to buy that lens, So
that's exactly right.
Marcus has a great comment for you here. Good. Josh, breath of fresh air. Great storytelling. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
There was a question here, and we're gonna go ahead and for the remaining time we have you, as soon as Chuck gets back, we're gonna open up a phone line.
Oh, cool.
And see if we got some phone. People want to call and ask you a question.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm looking over at my clock. I've got about. I'm at work right now, so I'm watching my emails on this one and my missed calls. But I've got about 30 more minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
We want to open it up, the phone lines for people to call in just as soon as Chuck gets back, because he handles that part of it. But
look at what Michael said about the YouTube algorithm recently introduced me to Josh's channel because of the Sony A7 IV. And then
there you go.
Yeah. So if I didn't put out a video about that had A7 IV in the title, Michael would have never seen my videos.
There you go. So
it's important that I keep doing that.
It's tied in together because you're using
it's integral.
Product. Yeah,
exactly right.
Real quickly, I want to just public service announcement. I want to go ahead and welcome everybody. Thank you for coming in. This is Vahagraphy Talk. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, we have weekly guests on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And there's Jerry Guiones coming June 28th. I have that confirmed. So cool. Nikon Ambassador Jerry Guiones. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. Okay, I think Chuck's taking a little break. So what's next for you? I mean, like I said, have you ever been to like the African, have you ever done an African trip?
No. The closest I came is I went with a bunch of yahoos to a hunting reserve in Texas, and I didn't bring a gun because I don't shoot animals and I don't have a problem with people that do, but that's just not something I do. But I brought my cameras and they had all these African You know, Africa is amazing. I'd love to go. I would absolutely love to go, but it's just not as high on my priority list as some other places.
Well, there you
But
go.
yeah,
It says more bird videos.
yeah. I got a list on my wall right there of the video content that I'm got planned, and I've made it a point to do a lot more. I get a lot of questions people ask me about, you know, processes, and I will. I've got several bird videos over the next few months planned on how to get better shots and stuff like that.
Let me ask you
Message
something
review.
about the Z9 real quick, and then we'll get on the
Sure.
phone. When you had the Z9, when you were doing the birds, did you have it on
Mhm.
3D tracking? And you know, what was your all AF settings?
I switched all the time, but 3D tracking bird or
Bird.
animal. Does
Okay.
it have bird and animal? Bird,
I
animal,
think
human. Is that
it's
right?
just animal. Yeah.
Yeah, animal. I'd keep it on animal, which I made a mistake not doing that to start with. I learned that the hard way. And I did 3D tracking, but I started with the smaller size box.
Mhm.
Instead of the whole big screen 3D tracking, I would put that small box on the subject and just hold the back button focus to where it was continuously focusing
Mhm.
as long as my finger was on the button. And then I set my front button to release only, which means I didn't need to press the front button to take a shot. I didn't need to press the front button to focus. Only the back button focused. So it would shoot whether I was in focus or not, in other words.
Okay.
But yeah, small box typically. And then when I went to birds in flight, I used the medium size box to track them, but always tracking 100%, always 3D tracking.
What did you do with your 400 order? Did you cancel it?
Yeah. Interestingly, it arrived while I was in Alaska. And
You kept it and
yeah,
sold it to somebody.
no,
They would.
yeah, that's a financial. I just spent
Oh, okay.
$13,000 on a 600 F4. So, you know, dumping another 14,000 or whatever it was for that.
Ah, so it
Yeah,
went to the next person in line.
it did. It did. They had no
Wow.
problem selling it. Yeah.
Wow. I know. Welcome back, Chuck.
Sorry about that. I didn't figure everybody wanted to hear me hacking up phlegm.
So, we got 20 more minutes with Josh. If there's anybody that wants to call in, is that phone set up there?
Yep.
All right, cool. There's the number, guys. And so yeah, man. That's great. You do like you edit your own videos, right?
God, yes.
So
I
it's
wish I
during the
could
week.
afford to pay somebody to do that.
See that?
It's
Yeah,
during
there
the
you
week.
go. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I shoot the weekends. I download everything Sunday night. Monday, I build a timeline. Tuesday, I start crafting the story. Wednesday, I test, load it onto YouTube. Thursday all day, I'm looking at it again and again to see if I like it. Come back home Thursday night, retweak it, and then post it Thursday night by sometimes 2 in the morning, depending on depending on
Wow.
how well I did. But yeah, then it goes live at 8 a.m. Friday mornings.
There-
Hey, Greg, are you seriously interested in seeing a video on the truck? Because he's not the first person to ask that. I've got an old Toyota pickup truck, and I do a lot of everything I do is out of that truck. And, you know, my camping trips and hitting all those little backwoods areas. I'm seriously thinking about doing it because those videos also get a lot of views. Those old truck overlanding. I might do that. I have to add that to the list.
Do you ever wonder, like, do you ever think, oh man, I want to post a video. Like, I don't want to wait till Friday. I want to post this video now. Or
I'm gonna start. I think I'm gonna go from 4 to 6 videos a month. My other two I'm gonna post on Tuesdays,
okay,
and just call them like, you know, Tech Tuesdays or whatever, because they're so easy to make. I can sit and talk in front of the camera and edit it in an hour, and surprisingly they get a lot of views. You know, if I title it, you know, the Sony 100 to 400 with the A7 IV, and I can sit and talk about it and show B-roll from all the other videos that I've already done where we're using that camera. That's a couple hour process. So I might start posting those on Tuesdays,
Well, you
but
heard it
yes.
here first.
Yeah.
Breaking
Well,
news.
I've already done it. I've done it twice last month. If nobody noticed, I had 2 Tuesday videos, and one was the Sony announcement that I switched, and the other one was a
Well, that
tripod
one,
video or something.
yeah, that one was that video. Yeah, I know that video, but okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yep.
Jeffrey has a question here. Do you find better results?
So with the Sony, I have a small single point 3D tracking mode, and I use it just like a single point AF. But once I put it on the subject, it holds it. I'm just hold down the autofocus button and it's tracking it. And like last night, I was shooting some birds and it was tracking it through the weeds, which I was like, how's this possible? But yeah, so I have it on the Sony. I have a button program where I just switch between modes real quick, and I've got 4 of them that I've isolated that I like using. So I know 2 taps goes to the large area, 1 tap goes back to the single point, and I'm doing that on the fly, like muscle memory. But the answer to Jeffrey's question is yes. I use single point autofocus, but with 3D tracking for small birds in those little tight areas.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Morton Hilmer. Somebody brought up Morton Hilmer in the chat. Did you see that video? Did you see that video with the Range Rover advertisement?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. So that's another one who's he's really monetized his hobby, That's wonderful. And he was there early, right? So when it came to nature photography, nobody beat Morton Hilmer to the market. He was very early. He had a bird video where he was just sitting in the woods looking at a woodpecker that got 2 million views. So because there was no other bird photography videos on YouTube. So yeah, he's definitely one of my inspirations for sure. However, full disclosure, I struggle watching his videos because I don't feel like there's a storyline, and it's like you're just kind of watching him. And so
whispering.
Yeah, exactly. So there's different types of videos. I mean, there's people that I like watching that most people don't even know who they are, but they just have great storylines, and I like how they craft their narrative, which is cool.
I mean, the YouTube viewer in me sees a point people sometimes make about, oh man, he's trying to advertising a Range Rover, this and that. But the other side of me says, you know what? Hey, you got to make a living. You know?
And that is his living. I mean, he said it many times. He was a dog sled guy that kind of conned his way onto a photo expedition by saying he was a cook. Remember? I don't know if y'all remember that story.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was able to take some pictures that got him a little traction because he was in an area where no other photographers were. And he was able to sell some of that stuff and build a reputation based on his ability to get to some difficult places. So, kudos to him for being able to build a brand and monetize it to where now he can do it for a living. But that's like lightning in a bottle. I mean, how many other people do you know who do that don't work for, National Geographic or Discovery? It's few and far between. I think Jeffrey said it best. Jeffrey said, if you want to make a small fortune with wildlife photography, start with a large fortune, because you're just going to spend all your money and you might get your mom and maybe one of your cousins will buy one of your pictures. Unless you're a marketing guy and all you do is 100% marketing all the time. But, photography is more about marketing than it is about great images. I know people that take way better images than Morton Hilmer that you never heard of. And they got 400 subscribers on Instagram. You know what I mean? So talent isn't always the determining factor in photography. It's marketing.
Yeah, that's the same thing with everything. I mean, like look at the channels that I mentioned frequently on my show. You know what I mean? Look at their work. They have no work.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, but they are
marketing.
Photographers. So what's going on, Chuck? You okay?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm just watching all the comments over here. Got a lot to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, it's great.
Not everybody does this for money.
Yeah, and remember
yeah.
we were talking
I'm
about
one
that?
of them.
Remember we were talking about how do wildlife photographers make a living?
Yeah.
They're very few and far between, and don't have some illusions that you're going to buy a camera at Best Buy and, you know, a year later be a professional wildlife photographer. That happening, and like I said, unless all you do is market yourself and you have a year sabbatical where you can basically solicit your services to everybody in the world, good luck. Good luck. A lot of the more successful people are people that have entered retirement, can devote a lot of time to it, and, you know, go. I know a guy who does pretty well. He's 60 plus years old, and he does these little art shows, and he probably makes $40,000 a year selling prints. But he spends that much traveling and and on equipment.
There's a guy on the beach. When I go to the beach, there's a guy always, you know, he brings his prints out and he's selling prints of the ocean, you know, the pier, sunset photos, and he's just selling it for 10, 20, $30. They're just 8x10s. Every weekend he's there. He goes out, he shoots, he prints. I don't know, he gets them printed. He mounts them on board like a cardboard. So he just doesn't give you the paper, you know, photo paper. It's ready to frame. And he just, you know, if he sells 10 prints a day, you know, he just made, you know, $200. You know?
Yeah.
So
Greg asked the question, how much do I pay the critters to show up? I was telling this to somebody in Alaska recently because I was heavily dependent on people telling me where to go while I was there. One guy was a chiropractor who's been living there for years, and he basically every day told me where to go and what time to be there, and it was extremely helpful. And if I didn't have that guy, I would have been fumbling around that island, and I probably would have got 20 shots. You know what I mean? But because of that guy and that contact, I had thousands and thousands of opportunities. And I was in Idaho for 4 years, 3.5 years before I started my YouTube channel. And if I'd have started year one, it would have been a video every week about trying to figure out where critters are. Luckily, because I've been here so long, I know where they are, and it's almost guaranteed when I show up to get some of these species. But that's a good question, Greg. I mean, I don't pay them, but I've put in a lot of time, and that's worth something.
what software do you use when you edit?
I'm using two right now. I hate building a timeline in Premiere Pro. It's one of the most cumbersome things in the world. So I build my entire timeline in Adobe Rush. It's very quick, fast, and then I export it to Adobe Premiere Pro, and I do my color grading and some sound adjustments in there. But I can build an Adobe Rush. I don't know if you've used that before. It's kind of a cross-platform system, but I do it localized on my computer. I don't do it cross-platform. I can build the timeline extremely fast, sometimes within 30 minutes. I can edit through my clips quick, and then I send and do the hard work in Premiere Pro.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I use Final Cut.
I would much rather use Final Cut, except I'm on PC products, and they don't offer it for PCs, only for Apple. I watched somebody, I was looking over somebody's shoulder recently that's using Final Cut, and I'm like, God dang it. I need to switch to Apple because it looks so much. Premiere Pro is stupid. It's just the most aggravating software in the world, in my opinion.
Hey, just curious, Josh, what is your number of bird species on your light?
I have it in a book in a library in the living room. I'd have to look that up, but I'm well over 400, I'd say.
Is that the question? How many have you shot?
How many species have I seen? I mean, usually people that ask that question, it's like, what's your life list? My number of photographing, seeing a bird and photographing a bird is not the same. That's two different.
That's how much I know about that birding topic.
Yeah, but I'm up there. I'm up there pretty far.
But I have a question before you leave. Does the birds change, the different kind of birds you see? Like, for example, if you take a trip to Boston or
Mhm.
the East Coast, will you get different types of species? And
Yeah, it's very regional, very regional.
Mhm.
Like when I came to Idaho, there was probably 20 birds I'd never seen in my life. That was my first time seeing them right here in Idaho, and stuff that I've never seen at all. Stuff that I would see every day at my bird feeder in Louisiana is a rare sighting up here. Like there was like this big hot to do about a blue jay recently, and Chuck probably has 20 of them in his backyard right now, feeding
Yeah.
on peanuts. So yeah, it's region to region. It definitely changes. That's why bird photographers travel so much. They get tired of looking at the same 10 birds,
Yeah,
ready to see something different.
that's cool. Yeah, man. Well, this was fun, Josh.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. Thank you for, just having me on. And I hope that Nikon talk cleared the air. I know it's important
Yeah,
to people.
Yeah. We've kicked that dog enough.
I agree. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, timing, like I said, if it was I just want to end on that. If getting a product is important to get it now, it's much different than waiting 7 months just to have it. You will shoot 100% of the bird. What I don't know how you'd say it, but you can't shoot any birds if you don't have the equipment. That's what it comes down to. What did he say? When your video drops, you make a what?
compute better, like better.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, like I've said, Josh, your videos are my weekly therapy.
Oh,
I mean, it's just enjoyable to sit back and listen, your narration and everything and look at the photos. I
well, I
just enjoy
appreciate
it.
it.
I don't care if you're shooting Kodak, okay?
When are
As
they going
long
to
as
get
I
back
get
in the
my
game?
therapy session, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Just keep
Well,
doing
and
what you're doing, man.
I appreciate you saying that because, like I said, I'll keep putting a video in each basket. But my passion is 100% in crafting those narratives and just trying to connect to people on a more, I don't know if you want to call it spiritual level or just to, we're humans, right? Just to make that connection on a humanity level instead of just a consumer product level. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe I shoot the same camera as you, but more importantly, we're both dads. We're both, we're both husbands. We're both
Yeah.
people that share a passion of being out in wildlife and enjoying, what nature has to offer. So I hope that supersedes which, you know, camera company could get me a camera quicker. But unfortunately, like I said, the views say otherwise, right? People
Yeah.
want to know what camera you use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's just part
Anyway,
of the photography hobby,
it really is. It really is. If I
So
was a
how you?
race car driver, they'd want to know all about my tires. So I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't speak to Ford drivers because, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We could
One
do the
last
same
question
thing
for
with
you about
every.
YouTube.
Oh, sure, sure.
How you liking the success, man? 15,000 subscribers.
Listen, it's humbling. I mean, I can't believe that many people have subscribed. It's wonderful. But also, and you understand this too, there's a lot of effort involved. And what baffles me is, like the bear video that I posted this week. I think I've got 5,000 views on it or 7,000 views or something like that right now.
Mm.
To me, that is my proudest piece of work to date. And a third of the people or a tenth of the people are going to see that than, what camera I shot with last week. And that's sad to me. So a little piece of me is like, people don't give a crap about me shooting bears in Alaska. They just want to know about my camera. And
But
that frustrates me a little.
no,
But
you shouldn't get frustrated, man. You're doing what you love, and
yeah, yeah,
people will appreciate it. I mean, you're not gonna hit a home run in every video. You know what I mean?
that's true. That's true.
So just as long as you enjoy it, and you're doing
I
it
do.
your way. You know,
And I do.
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra says things that best. You know, do it my way. So
Yeah, a little piece of me hopes that you know, I replace David Attenborough one day. You know, they need somebody to do voiceovers for I just need to work on my English accent. You know, I don't have much of an English accent. No, but I do love it. And Vahagan, thank you. That is it, I've enjoyed a nice amount of success in what I consider a short amount of time, and it's been very humbling. And not only do I appreciate the numbers, I appreciate, you know, every time I post a video, I see Jeffrey, Greg, and, you know, I see Marcus, I see Todd, I see all the same people that keep coming back. And it's very encouraging because I have friends now, you know, I mean, it's like, it's not just people that watch videos. I consider these guys friends, and from all over the world. You know, Roland's from Liechtenstein or whatever it was. And
yeah.
Roland seems to show up on every video just to say thank you and hello, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man, and thank you. And you know, like I said, do it your way. Don't worry about the numbers, man. You know, as long as you're happy inside. You know what I mean? And what you're putting out. Yeah, I put out a video that I'm acting or I'm doing something funny and it gets a lot of views, and I put out a review that doesn't do so good, but that review takes 2 to 3 days to film and edit.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
That's what it is, man. You heard of a guy named Ramesh Karmarkar in India or something?
I have. Yeah.
I'm trying to get that guy.
I think he emailed me not long ago, and and I've watched his. Yes.
I'm trying to get that guy, but he doesn't know. You know, his English is bad.
Yeah.
So I told Frames, I go, hey, Frames, can you come on board if he wants to come do the show? You know, to translate.
Yeah, he does a wonderful job.
So
okay, guys, I gotta go. Vahagan, Chuck, thank you, my friends. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh.
Anytime. You guys have a great day.
with us.
Thank you for coming, man. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot for your time.
Bye-bye.
Rock and roll.
There you have it,
Chuck. Chuck, you're still under the weather, huh? You're not yourself.
Yeah, still a little bit, but getting better every day. Yeah, I'm glad you put that dead horse to bed, man. Man,
real quickly,
all the questions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Real quickly though, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to Vahagraphy, go ahead and do so. Hit the like button. We have Vahagraphy Talks every week, and I'm actually thinking about doing twice a week. But I'm thinking about it right now. We'll see. But every Tuesday, 10 a.m., go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. Like, hit the notification bell, and I'm also doing giveaways. I'm starting to do giveaways. So subscribe, and you'll be entered to win. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of these talks, what you want to see. And, you know, Chuck, I get a lot of requests for people. You know, I go, hey, can you get this guy on? Or can you get that guy on?
Yeah.
It's sometimes we like to have these guests on, but they certainly don't want to come on. I mean, they just don't feel comfortable, or they haven't done this. Oh, man, I forgot to ask Josh about Rylan, because I wanted to ask him a question about if he knew, you know, about him. But like Rylan, I would love to have the 17-year-old kid on. You know, if you guys don't know Rylan, who he is, am I pronouncing his name correctly? Rylan.
Yeah.
I like to have him on because he's a young kid, you know, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I like the way he talks. And it's great. He reminds me of me when I was 17 and I loved cameras, and I was the only one in my class that had this passion for cameras and lenses, you know. It's just like, that's me right there. So yeah. So yeah, so we get a lot of requests, but sometimes they just don't feel comfortable coming on, or they just don't have time right now. This is the traveling summer season, so. But
yeah, a lot of people are busy right now. I'm getting that too. You know, it's right in the middle of the height of their shooting season for whatever they're doing. So, and that's understandable. People have to make a living.
Yeah, and but we enjoy this, right, Chuck?
Oh, I absolutely love it.
We got to get you at 100%, man.
Yeah, we'll get there. We will get there.
Marcus Slade, yeah. That's why I wanted him on. You know what I mean? I wanted to talk to him about it. Glad you enjoyed it, David. Thanks for contributing, guys, to the chat. So any announcements? AP Studios chat. If you guys haven't subscribed to Chuck Talks AP Studios, go and do that too.
Yeah, go over there and subscribe before you actually watch the show. No, join us in our community too. It's a lot of the same folks you see here are over there on my channel as well. And it's all about you having a chance to voice your opinion. And I get way behind in the comments over there, so everybody can laugh at me. But yeah, tomorrow, our weekly Wednesday afternoon live stream, 12 noon Eastern, 1700 GMT for those of you in Europe. And if you're elsewhere, you can figure it out from GMT, I think. But join us tomorrow. We're going to talk about this new camera that's coming out by Nikon. And just remember, we've been talking about this for a few months now and got more serious recently. And I think we're about to see the launch of another camera, probably APS-C, an APS-C body. And a lot of people expect it to be a very entry-level APS-C. And we may get that, but I really believe that this is Nikon's opportunity to kind of help us out and maybe give us that pro body APS-C. Not a camera that I'm looking for, but I think it helps Nikon out quite a bit if they go that route. So we'll be talking about it tomorrow, and you guys jump in and throw your 10 cents worth in what you think's about to happen.
Yeah, share the love. Like this chat. Like the chat. If you like the chat, today's chat, hit the thumbs up button, guys. The more people see this, the more people we have, and go ahead and go over their AP Studios and go ahead and subscribe to that. Nancy, you work with NASA. It'd be great to hear some of your stories from NASA. It'd be great to have you on 1 week. So it'd be great, you know. So that's about it on my end, brother.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add?
No, other than put up with my sniffling here for another few days. Hopefully I'll get past this part of COVID, and I am isolated, so I can't go out and do anything, and that's pretty aggravating. But you guys keep me informed doing these live streams, and I really enjoy it.
You're welcome, and thank you, guys. Thanks, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm getting comments here. You're welcome, Nitsisa 71. And then every week it's getting better and better. I'm seeing people that I've never seen and with their screen names, so it's good. You know, it's good, man. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. This was Vahagraphy Talk 34. So we'll see you next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Same time. Working on a few guests right now, and if I happen to, pencil them in, I'll let you guys know in the communities tab there. All right, guys. Chuck?
Rock and roll.
Have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you're at. Rock and roll. See you guys.
Bye-bye.